Hey, welcome to Backyard Bows. I'm Brandon, and today we're going to take a look at the Stealth Rig. The Stealth Rig just won the 2024 Best New Product introduced at the ATA show here in St. Louis, which we got to go to. On my way out the last day, I luckily was able to run into Tyler, the creator of the Stealth Rig. And obviously at first, it just catches your eye. It's something unique, it's something different. And I got to sit there and talk with him a little bit. And then he sent us one for us to review. And I'm so glad that he did. Because once you get it in hand, you really realize the quality of the pack and how structurally sound the magnet is, which is probably the main question that we've gotten, and that was my personal biggest concern about hooking up a $2,000 bow to a magnet. Okay, and as you'll see in a second, the magnet is as solid as you can get. The entire structural integrity of the entire system works flawlessly. I'm telling you, this thing, after messing with it for just a couple of days, I really have seen just how solid it is. So, first, you get in an adapter piece, which is going to hold your magnet to your bow. So you either have a bolt that's going to come with it, or you can use a stabilizer because it's supposed to be in the location of your stabilizer. A couple things with this from messing around with it that I've noticed. And as he says it in his own video, you want to anchor this magnet angled up a little bit so that when you crank this stabilizer or the screw down, you want to get it as tight as you can get, which is going to hold this heavy magnet in place and limiting it from movement on your bow. You want to really crank this down as tight as you can. Once you do crank it down, if you take off the magnet on the inside here, you're going to want to tighten that bolt, and that is kind of a set screw that is going to lodge into the side of your riser. I'm going to point something else out as well. Aluminum riser, you can crank that thing down as tight as you want. Carbon riser, which we first tried it on when I first hooked it up, it does want to kind of bore itself into that riser, so be careful about that. Kind of be mindful about watching that screw as it makes contact. But you want to get both of those as secure as you can, because this magnet, once you pick it up, you do realize that it is quite heavy. So another concern right off of the bat of mine was two things. Am I going to need to remove the magnet? Let's say I'm stalking an animal, we come to a situation where I realize, okay, grab my bow, it's go time. Am I gonna wanna remove the magnet, put it off to the side, and just use my bow, which that is an option? Or the actual magnet itself really is very well placed, being on the side of your bow as it is, kind of acts like a back bar stabilizer weighted counterpart would, and it does balance the bow pretty nicely right onto the side, okay? So that right there actually feels very good, adding a little bit of weight to your bow. So if you're using an X-Lite, which is made of this magnite, or you're using a carbon bow, this little bit of weight that the magnet's gonna add really is not gonna play into effect. If you have a 34-inch axle aluminum bow and it's all dressed out, you might wanna take this thing off because it's just adding that weight that you don't want. But again, that's an option that you have. Once you get this thing on there, it's really nice and secure. It's not coming off, it's not movement. That's when you can add it to your pack. So as you've seen, all this is gonna do, and this took a little bit of practice, okay? I'm not gonna lie. The first time I did it, I was a little awkward getting it on and getting it off. The more you practice, the more you rep something out, the smoother it becomes. Once I watched Tyler do it a couple times in his video, that's when you realize, like, okay, you kind of get the technique down. But once you grab your bow, all you're gonna do is grab it with your other hand and find your magnet. Once it's on there, it's on there. Okay, and I'll show you in a second. I'm gonna have my 7-year-old try to rip this thing off. You can't get it off once it's on there unless you play it at the right angle. Okay, so once you swing it out to the side, you bring it forward, that's when the bow is gonna come right off. All right, and it takes that little bit of angle and pressure to get it off, but once it's flat on there, you see him packing with it, you see him hiking with it, you see him pulling sleds with it. There's videos of him running up and down a mountain with it. The thing is not gonna move. The magnet is as strong as you can get. And this is something that I would just have somebody, I mean, you can reassure yourself, you can test everything yourself before you start taking it out into the field, but I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at how strong the magnet is and how solid the system works once it's all hooked up. So a couple of the benefits that you're gonna have is, one, you're gonna have your hands free. Anytime that you're hiking in, anytime that you're in the woods, anytime that you're hiking up the side of a hill, whatever it is that you might be doing, having your hands free is always better. It's always safer. Another thing is, it's gonna be a lot quieter. It's tucked away on the backside. It's not getting caught on twigs, branches. Sometimes in that thick brush, you're sitting there dragging your bow through stuff, makes a lot more noise, as well as an energy saver. So it's, again, gonna save you energy. Being nice and tucked on your back balanced out, the whole weighted system. This bino harness is very solid. Once it's on there snug, you barely even feel that it's back there. Hiking long distances is made so much easier. Again, with your hands free, everything tucked away. I love that. This is awesome. So I think the whole thing is best utilized for long stalks, long hikes. It can be utilized at something, an event like TAC. This thing just makes long distance bow hunting, any kind of bow hunting where you want your hands free, so much easier. And I think probably the main benefit that I see from this is a stalk. Okay, anytime you're stalking, you want your hands free. You're probably usually low to the ground. You do not want to be dragging your bow. I mean, I've been bow hunting turkey where I'm sit there stalking, dragging my bow on the ground, and I didn't even notice, but my cable's nicked. There's a branch stuck in between my cams. There's all kinds of stuff that can happen when you're crawling and having your bow in your hand, or even you're just trying to move stealthily along. I love the whole name, Stealth Rig. This thing makes you so much more stealthy, being able to utilize both your hands. I think that's very important. So that's the magnet. On to the pack. So you're getting the magnet, and that's what you're buying this whole system for. So I kept thinking like, man, they put all their efforts into the magnet. If they're gonna skeet anywhere, it's gonna be on the pack. Not at all. This pack is one of the best packs that I have. It's definitely probably one of the most solid. So the whole thing's made from that Condor material. It's extremely tough. They see it in a lot of military stuff. This thing is very well made, very well stitched. It's not going to come apart on you. You got two magnets, both of them fold down. You get your bino pack that folds down. You got your rangefinder pack that folds down. Both of them secured by magnets. You got a pocket on the front, which is really nice to hold your release or something else. And then you got your pockets on the side, which most bino packs come with. I usually carry a knife on one side and my wind detector on the other side. That's kind of a standard of what I always do. The other thing that I really like about this pack is that on the back side, you have room for like a flashlight, but it also is a perfect for an iPhone. Any phone, any smartphone, it fits perfectly tucked away back there. Really nice, safe, and secure. The entire thing is a real nice thick gauge. It's real padded to protect everything that you're gonna wanna protect. The one thing that it did not come with is straps for your binos or your rangefinder. That's something strategically Tyler just kind of in his creative process, that's something that he just left out. He says those straps usually get in the way, and that's kind of the experience he's had, so he left those off. One thing I do is the rangefinder and the bow go hand in hand. You can't bow hunt without a rangefinder. So I just took a little strap, strapped it on, carabiner, clipped it to the top just to make sure that this thing's not gonna get lost when I'm in the field. But that's something that I did on my personal pack here. Another thing that's really cool about Tyler is one, he gets all the materials sent to him, which are made from all over the place. He assembles each one himself at his house. So he's still small enough, he has a hand in making every single one of these, reassuring that everyone is well put together, well made. I love that when the owners of the company are still in that beginner process where they're kind of hands-on, that's when you're gonna get the best stuff. Okay, another thing is he can custom engrave all of the plates on the back. So I have the Backyard Bows logo there, looks really slick and clean. He says he has not sent a single one of these out that did not vary from another one. So every single one is individualized to whatever you want. You send him the logo, he'll put it on the back, which I also thought was really cool. One of my other favorite things is it has kind of that MOLLE system on the bottom. Right now it has a strap. What I did, I just put an Allen wrench set right underneath the bottom of it. In case something comes loose on your hunt, it's always something nice to have. Anything, any kind of space where you can store extra stuff is nice. So I have a hand warmer from another bino pack that can also be adapted onto this bottom MOLLE kind of set on the bottom. And then there's also other stuff that he's creating, maybe a gun holster, other things that he's gonna have that you can attach on. The rangefinder can be adapted from one side to the other, which is really nice. You can kind of customize exactly how you want it, add additional pouches or things to different parts. He's really thought of it all when kind of creating this thing, and not just creating the magnet system on the back, but really being able to utilize the whole chest pack, make it as most efficient as possible. So, and then something else, if you also are gonna have a pack, if you wanna pack in something, there's called a Stealth Rig Light, which is a system that's going to take that plate and allow you to mount it on it to any pack so that you can still throw your bow up on the back side of that pack. I thought that was really cool too. Being a hunter himself, being in the Marine Corps, you can tell that Tyler has kind of really put some good thought into this and kind of created something for every hunter in every hunter situation. They only come in one color at the moment, which is kind of this coyote brown, but other colors to come soon, he said. So a little bit more on getting it on and off, okay? I think the best thing to do is to grab the bottom riser with whatever dominant hand you are. Once you bring it behind you, you're gonna wanna take your other hand and grab the limb or limb pocket and then you get used to the height at which your bow are. So different axle to axle bow, you're gonna have to kind of get comfortable and familiar with where that plate is and where the magnet sits on the bow. But once you do, it kind of reps out and you get easier and easier at putting it on. And then as you bring it off, so you're gonna wanna bring it to the side first, and then you're gonna wanna bring it forward at 100%. And that angle at which you apply pressure is gonna what's release the magnet from the plate. Again, I love when I posted the reel, we had a couple people saying that the quality of this is not what you're supposed to be getting for the price that you're paying for, that they didn't trust the magnet. That's why we released the view after all your questions. I promise you, I think this is Backyard Bows approved through and through. I'm definitely gonna use this in the field. I plan to do a tack later this year. This will be what I use at the tack. Any hike where you're gonna be putting some effort into the hike, where the terrain causes you to use all the stability that you have, this is gonna come into play so much. Having that bow tucked right behind you, really nice, safely. The plate always goes on that outside, whether you're right hand or left hand, you want to be opposite from the arrow quiver, which kind of makes sense. But again, man, it's as simple as, and then once you gotta get into the routine, it's super simple. It's really easy, it's really nice. And again, once you secure this bino harness to your body, really, really snug, this bow being as light as it is, the X-Lite, you barely even know that thing's there. I could take off with this and probably forget that it's back there. All of a sudden you see the situation where you're gonna need it. It comes off and it's in your hands in no time, ready to shoot. I love it. If you have not checked out Stealth Rig, do so. If you want one, you can go to stealthrigllc.com, which we'll put a link below. Check them out, support Tyler. I think he's a very creative mind. I'm excited to see what else he comes up with in the future. We'll see you next time.